Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. Oh my gosh, it's the 10-year anniversary of Power Blast podcast, and I've got my good friend, Fran Patoskie, in an interview. She's going to give you some great tips, share some great stories. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast, owner of PutYourselfFirst.com, and health and fitness coach that's helped thousands and thousands of people just get healthy, fit, get off the couch, live happy, fulfilling lives. And I've got a great interview with my friend Fran Patoskie out of Hawaii. Can't wait to have her on here. She's got some great tips, great stories, great things to share with you. You want to have a notebook and just enjoy the show. Let's get to the interview. Hey everyone, welcome. I've got my friend Fran Patoskie on here from Hawaii. Hey Fran.
Hey Perry.
So glad to have you on here. Here we are, 10 years of this podcast. Can you believe it?
That's unreal.
So here I am. I'm thinking, you know, we've been doing this, actually the 10-year anniversary of Power Blast podcast. And I'm going back thinking, well, what can I do? Do I review highlights from this? What do I, how do I do this? And I'm like, gosh, it would really be cool to have a special guest on. And you and I have been at this for 10 years. And it's like, well, that makes sense. So here I am. People, if you're watching on here, or even if you're listening, I messaged Fran last night. I'm like, would you be my special guest? She's like, yes, but when? And then we both happen to have the very next day open. So cool. How are you doing, my friend?
I am very good. Very good.
That's awesome. So just before we got on here, guys, Fran asked me the question. So it almost seems like I'm being interviewed instead of her. She asked me the question about the podcast. And this podcast has been a video podcast for 10 years. And it still is. She just didn't know that you could have a video podcast within the iTunes store. And a lot of times some of you have discovered it on YouTube. But here we are. This started off as the P90X Plus podcast.
And so, yep.
Yeah, you discovered it. How did you discover that, Fran?
Well, I was, I had my first copy of P90X.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, I'm being totally transparent and honest here, but I was borrowing my friend's copy because I didn't have a copy. And all she sent me, she was in Michigan, and all she sent me were the DVDs. So she didn't send me the books or anything. So I didn't know what to do. And so I was just searching the web for like a schedule or something that I could follow. And I Googled P90X and you came up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really cool.
Must have been the nice branding I had for the topic of the P90X podcast. Some of you guys might not know that shortly after that, I think I had the podcast on for maybe about 6 months at that time.
Yeah.
And I got a call from Beachbody asking me if they can get the domain of P90Xplus.com. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of cool. And they're like, well, it really goes against our policies and procedures for anybody to own a domain with anything trademarked in it by us. And I had no clue. I was just a big fan of P90X. And they proceeded to tell me that they were creating a new program from Tony called P90X Plus. It was actually a follow-up or an addition to their P90X program. They were looking for the domain. It was already booked, so they were contacting me. He goes, we could really just take this from you because it's really our domain. It's really our trademark, and we can make a big stink about it. But to tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We'll buy the domain from you. And they gave me like $200 for it. And I said, you don't have to do that. I'll gladly give it back. Nope, they gave me that. And then they had their marketing team call me and brainstorm a new name for my podcast, which became the Power Blast podcast.
Aw, that's
Yeah. For 1 week, it was the Perry Tinsley Plus podcast because I had no other name about it. So if you come across any of those old episodes, that's a little 10-year history of that.
I remember that episode. I do, because it was shortly after I found you. I remember you saying, well, guys, here's the new name of my podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's stuck ever since. And here we are 10 years later. I remember the very first time the concept that I wanted to do this, I wanted to reach out and just share health and fitness with people and just living life and making life happy, healthy, fulfilling. And would there be enough topics out there that we could do one a week? And I thought it might fizzle after a while. You've seen blogs out there. People start a blog and then they fizzle out. But we've been able to do this one a week over the past 10 years. And I got the blessing from Beachbody to do it and have interviewed many, many people. We've had some of the Carl Deichler on. We've had some of the rock star super trainers, like Tony Horton was on Podcast 500. So you can go back and listen to his advice. I've had Debbie Siebers on and many, many others, and some really awesome friends like Fran here. I can't wait for her to share her story because lots of things have happened over the past 10 years. And, you know, one of the things I want to know, and you're probably just going to say no, 10 years ago, would you see yourself where you're at now on the path of what you've been doing?
Oh my gosh, no.
I knew the answer, but I had to load that one. So anyway, Fran, welcome. And all you out there, thank you for listening. And I'm going to have Fran just share her story. I don't have a list of questions or anything like that. We're just going to go through and share this. But how has your life changed over the past 10 years and your decision on starting and committing to P90X? And where did that lead to? And what are you doing now?
Well, I was in the hotel industry. I live in Hawaii. If you guys don't know, I live in Hawaii. So of course I was in the hotel industry since I was like 16. And so it was a really long time. And I remember in 2007, I want to say, is when I was part of a different infomercial. I was, chosen to be in this infomercial. And I don't have television. That's the funniest thing. So I don't even see infomercials. But really? I was on this person's database, right? She was another trainer who some of you, if you were in the 80s or 90s, you would know of her. But she was like in the Kathy Smith era, But anyway, so I got chosen to be in that infomercial. And in going through her test group, she had a 90-day test group too. So in going through her test group, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have any of that stuff then. We had Yahoo groups. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we didn't see each other or anything, but that's how we chatted with each other was, the people that were in the test group. There were 60 of us chosen to be in the test group. And so as it came closer to the end of the 12 weeks, they were starting to talk about, what are you going to do next? Just like we do now, right? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Well, the big thing then was Turbo Jam. Okay. And so people were talking about that. They were in this group. They were saying, oh, I'm going to do Turbo Jam. It looks like a lot of fun and all that. And I have no television. So I didn't know what they were talking about. But I Googled it and I said, okay, well, I like kickboxing. That looks like fun. And so I ordered Turbo Jam. And Turbo Jam took me to the Beachbody message boards.
Okay.
And on there, I saw a lot of people saying, I'm a P90X grad. I'm a P90X grad. And remember now, this is 10, 11 years ago when P90X first came out. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, what is P90X? So I Googled P90X. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. Because I like boot camp stuff. And just to see all the different workouts, it was just amazing. And there was kickboxing in there too, right? I mean, it's Kempo and stuff. And I thought this was just amazing, but $120, oh my gosh, right? Mm-hmm. Never spent that much money. Even the Turbo Jam was like the most expensive workout I'd ever bought before, at $60 then. So one of the girls who was in the test group with me had bought P90X, but she only did it for like a week or so. And then she said, oh, it's too hard for me. And so I said, do you mind if I take a look at it? Can I just borrow it? So she lived in Michigan. And so she mailed me only the DVDs. And so I got the DVDs, and like I said, I didn't know what to do. So my son went and ordered me the manuals from eBay. And so from there, I saw the food plan and I saw the schedule and whatnot. And then I was just hungry for anything P90X. And I found you. And then I went on the message boards, for the P90X, found the P90X Fanatics, which unbeknownst to me was run by Mason Bendewald, who was the director of P90X. And the names that were in that group? Robert Hudgens, Mark Briggs, let me think of somebody else you would know. Jason Diebold, all the people now that are the rock stars, right, of Beachbody were in that group. And I was like one of the only women in that group.
Oh, wow. But
it was so much fun. And then I did find a group of women and became very active on that message board. So that's in that second message board that I was in, one of the women in there who I eventually chose her to be my coach, because my coach never replied back to me. I did email her, but she never replied back to me. So I did choose, this other girl that was in my other message board, and she invited me to something. She didn't know what it was. It was something that was happening in LA.
It was an event of some sort.
It was an event. Okay. And I, at that time, Tony was going around the country doing camps, right? And I was like, I want to go to one of Tony Horton's fitness camps. And so I asked her, is it a Tony Horton fitness camp? And she said, I'm not sure, but he's going to be there. And so I said, great, okay, I'm in, because she said I could share her room. And at that time, flights weren't that expensive to, LA from here. It was about $300 maybe.
Okay.
So I went up, and it was the first coach summit.
The first coach summit. That's our big get together, kind of better than a conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
the first one.
All of 300 people, maybe, with the Beachbody staff and everybody, right? In one.
That was it. I think this was March of 2008 is what she's talking about here. So yeah.
Yep. March of 2008. And so I didn't know what I was walking into. Honestly, had no idea. And then went into a team training. I just was kind of like following wherever, they told me to go. I just went because I didn't know what was going on. But apparently we belonged to a team called Team Genesis, and they were having a team meeting. And so I walk in, and one of the first people I see is Perry Tinsley of the Power Blast podcast. Whoa, he was like a rock star to me. So I went up to him and I told him what a fan I was and everything. And we've been fast friends ever since.
Oh, man. Yeah. Love that. That was so cool. I remember you coming up, and this was a time, people, where when we had these events, I would bring my digital video camera because I was going to use stuff in podcasts and share with people. And you could just walk up to the trainers and film them and get real close and chat with them out in the hallway. And now they've got an entourage. And if you can meet up with them, oh, good luck to you.
Yeah. It was so cool. And so anyway, I had signed up as a coach like the week before I went to this event.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I did. Didn't know what I was signing up for. I just was like, if I'm going to get a 25% discount for anything that Tony makes, okay, that's worth it. Now, remember, this is pre-Shakeology, pre any of that. So was it a good financial move? Probably not, because how often does he come out with workouts, right?
Yeah, but they had the P90X bars. They had the recovery drink. They had the supplements. If you bought any of those things, for me, it saved me $10, so I was in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as it made up for the $15 a month I had to pay, for a coach, then I'm like, okay, I'm worth it, right? So if you bought at least $60 a month in retail, then it was worth it, right?
Right.
So anyway, so I did sign up as a coach. And then after that event, at that event, I should say, because I had never, ever heard the business opportunity. I had never heard of anything about what a coach was or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I have a history of, I was in several MLMs before that never lasted very long, maybe a year at most. I had some success in some of that, but, I was working full time and it was just exhausting to me, at the time to, the thing I was selling, I had to drive. I was a party plan thing. So I had to drive everywhere, drive to the party, drive to pick up my product, drive to deliver it. It was just exhausting. So that's why I never wanted to be in it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly did not sign up to start a business. Really, I didn't, I had a good job. I was there 25 years already. It was fine. I was set, I was almost 50. I was like, I wasn't looking for a new career at that point.
Signing up as a fan, maybe save a little bit of money. It came with a business, a way that you could do it, but not necessarily something that you needed to dig into. It was there if you wanted it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. I saw the sense in signing up for the discount. And if somebody asked me about something, to say, sure, here, you can get it from my website, maybe make a couple bucks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't a plan for me at all to, build wealth or anything in it. So I go to this event, the summit, and then Carl Deichler went on stage and talked about being a coach. And like I said, it was the first time I had ever really seen a presentation. And so he talked about, and he spoke my language. It wasn't, sometimes you go to these business opportunity presentations, they're drawing circles on the, on the board and all, and I just tune out of that kind of stuff. It just seems phony and, pie in the sky. But here's Carl, who was talking about, here's what a coach does. They get themselves healthy. Then they go and they befriend somebody else and help them get healthy, one person at a time. It wasn't this, go build a team of thousands and thousands of people and it wasn't that at all. It was just go be a friend, go on the message boards, help somebody, because you did it, you can help somebody. And I'm like, I'm doing that already on the message boards. I was doing it and I didn't know that I was already coaching. And that's what he said, be a product of the product, which I was, right? Share, which I was, because you can't help but share when you're a product of the product, and then invite somebody else to try. And I'm like, wow, that's all it is. Okay, well, then maybe let me take a look at this. And then I saw Pete Pena, who was the first 10-star diamond, go up on stage, and they presented him with this huge check of $75,000, which was the quarterly bonus, right, at that time. And I thought, oh, wow, you can make money in this, right? You can make money in this. I had no idea how or anything, but that was intriguing because that's more money than I made in a whole year.
This is where the overlay shows up at the bottom saying there's a disclaimer. There's an income disclaimer that there's no guarantee that you'll make this amount of money, but it's really up to each individual person and how their due diligence and yada, yada, yada. And they just got to bust their butt and do the work if they're going to make that money.
Yeah. So on the way home, because I have a very long flight back home, I took all of the information that they gave me there at Summit and I poured over everything. I read everything, and that's where I was like, I wanted to understand how this thing worked. And that was March of 2008. Well, guess what? In August, in July of 2008, then I went back to Las Vegas, where Tony really was doing a Tony Horton fitness camp. And it's there that solidified that I wanted to be serious about it. And in August of 2008, the market crashed.
Okay. Yep.
Right. And that's when it became really real to me, because I saw lots of my friends then. I was in the hotel business, and what happened was people stopped coming to Hawaii.
Traveling, yeah.
I mean, it was scary in Waikiki to walk outside and see nobody. It was frightening.
Wow.
So yeah, I saw lots of my friends get let go. They were either their jobs were eliminated, or they were put on, what do you call it? Hiatus. What do you call that?
Some sort of leave. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Leave for 3 months or whatever, because we just didn't have the business. And so that really scared me, because I thought, I have no plan B. None. I had 25 years in the same company. I have no education. I went to 1 year of college, so I have no degrees, nothing. This is the only job I've ever known. What would happen if that was me? Almost 50, with a house. And so it really scared me. And so that's when it was like, I got to take this seriously and figure out how, not to mention I lost a lot of money in my 401k when the crash came.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'd been saving in there for that time, 15 years, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
15, 20 years at that time, to see it all like disappear was really scary.
Very scary, yes.
Yeah. So I really dug in, and, I was all alone out here in Hawaii, all alone, but I plugged in to whatever calls I could, which weren't a lot at the time. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. So it was just phone calls, So, but whatever I could find, I found, and I started doing my own presentations down here in Hawaii, and recruited somebody, who helped me do that. And we started building here in Hawaii. And then the guy that I coached won the $1 Million Body Contest.
Yeah. It's now called the Beachbody Challenge, but at the time was the $1 Million Body Contest. And how much did he win?
He won $250,000. That's like Biggest Loser money.
For his fitness transformation. This was not a coach business compensation check. This was just for sharing his story because he got fit using P90X, right?
Yeah. And he lost almost 200 pounds. Wow. Yeah. So we had lots of interest because of his story. We had lots of interest. So we built a team here and across the United States. We weren't in Canada then, but, throughout the United States. And he and I built a huge team. And over the course of 3 years, from 2008 to 2011, I matched my full-time income.
Wow.
That at that time had taken me almost 30 years to make. And
this is during a time that was really fragile for many people.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And so that's when I was like, oh my gosh, that doing this part-time, and I was able to do that. So the next 2 years were just amazing years, for the business, for my business. And because I hadn't at that time considered leaving. It was like, now I'm over 50, and it's like, well, I might as well just hang out until retirement time. Might as well. I was just banking it. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one tip that I want to tell people is don't quit your job too fast. A lot of people, once they start making any kind of money, they quit their job, and then, they're not prepared, but they have to have savings for the time when, there's lean times. Everything's cyclical. So I did not quit my job. But then as time went on, the next few years went on, I saw things started bugging me at work. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. Things started bugging me. I felt micromanaged at work. My boss started making me take my laptop on trips with me. And I was earning all the trips, right? We earned the cruises and whatnot. And she would make me take my laptop with me on those trips. And that started to bug me because then I really started feeling like I was on a chain,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And here I was making more money than my job was paying me, and I didn't like it anymore. I really felt micromanaged. And so that started bothering me a lot. And anyway, by the 5th year of me being a coach, I made the decision to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 4 years ago. So I just had an anniversary. Actually, April 10 was the day I left my job.
Oh, congratulations. Wow.
Yeah. So, I never, ever thought that I would be a full-time entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been great. My husband left his job too. So we've been at home together all this time. And it's just afforded me freedom, which, like I said, I only went to a year of college before I started having my babies and stuff, and so now it's like I'm just hungry for education, but I have the time now, so I got certified as an eating psychology coach, and that was 9 months long. I got certified with precision nutrition. I got certified as a fitness trainer. Now I'm getting certified as a group fitness trainer. So, this is my education, and I just love it. I love learning and growing, and I'm doing things now that at my age I never thought I would be starting. I'm actually teaching classes, so
Wow.
it's really cool. It's really cool.
That's such a journey, and all because you made that decision.
Yeah.
And you dug in to just educate yourself just a little bit more so you could understand what at least this business opportunity could do. And I'm sure over the years you've kept up your fitness and your nutrition stuff. We didn't even get into that part, but here you are. It's opened up just other opportunities for you where a lot of people, I think, sometimes just feel stuck. And poor me, it would be very easy to just crawl into a hole during that time of uncertainty, as opposed to, I'm going to take control. What can I take control of myself? Because I can totally relate to that when with the death of my wife, and it could have been just go down that depression. Or are there things that I can do in control of myself when life is out of control? Because the life is always going to have those moments. So good for you. That's so awesome. So what did you do over the years? What's been your experience with? Because I know that you were a runner, I believe, at one time, and you were having some knee issues or something like that. Or
well, I was never a runner, but I did do marathons.
Oh, marathon.
I walked them. I did walk them. And by the way, my last marathon was in 2004. I did 5 total, but my last one was in 2004 because, yes, I had hip problem.
Hip problem, okay.
Yeah, my hip started, having issues. And so, but I signed up for this year.
Look at you. This is no spring chicken here, people, even though we're in spring. Wow. So what are you doing to keep yourself, besides happy and content with all of your learning and personal growth? How are you growing with your exercise and your health?
Well, my exercise has changed a lot, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Although I just finished a round of P90X, which I haven't done in a really long time too.
Wow, impressive.
But I did. I finished a round of P90X because then I have the time to do it too, right? And but like I said, I teach classes now, so I keep up with my certifications, my Beachbody Live certifications. I'm certified in PIO, Turbo Kick, Insanity, Country Heat, Size. I'm going to get certified in P90X Live.
Wow. Core to Force coming soon?
No, I don't think I'm going to do that one.
Oh, why not? You got to wear every badge. You think you got them all anyway. That's coming, people. She just hasn't admitted to it. Okay.
But I like the format of P90X. So I think that may be my thing. The choreography is hard for me. So, even Core to Force is kind of choreographed. So,
yes.
But anyway, I do that. And because I teach classes, I have to practice, myself. I do Beachbody on Demand. as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, if I'm not following a program, I'm doing the challenge du jour. So I like that.
Okay.
I just finished the Ultimate Reset, which is great. So I just finished that. And then because I'm educated now, I practice a lot of the things that I'm learning. So it's really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, a lot of these things that Fran's talking about, if you guys are listening and you're not in the Beachbody workout world, we have an on-demand streaming online service, very much like Netflix, if you will, and all of our workouts are in there, and there's even brand new ones being added. And this challenge du jour one is just kind of a random workout that's selected by master trainers, but a random workout comes up each day from one of our different programs, just to give you variety. Because all of us know once you followed a program, when you do it a couple rounds of it, sometimes even though there's variety in there, it can get a little mundane. You're just looking for a little spice of life, like Tony says. But P90X Live, I think that would be really, really cool. I got certified when they went through the very first course, but I didn't go and train, but I haven't gone through the P90X Live training, which I've heard really good things about.
The format is much better.
Mm-hmm.
There's really a structure to it now. And, after trying to put together my own classes for the class I lead at church, I really appreciate the preset lessons and the preset music and stuff. Yeah, so much easier.
Oh, that's so cool. What would you say is the one thing that, over the years has been just kind of that's giving you that glow and that happiness and that, living life large now? Is there one thing that you can put your finger on?
It's been quite a journey, of course, as we know, there's been quite a journey, and it's been really fun to earn the accolades. You and I were both elite coaches, and I remember, it's just an aside, do you remember that one year, Perry, where like at midnight on December 31st when the deadline was coming,
yes.
I wasn't sure I was going to make it. And it was blow by blow, minute by minute, I was telling you what was going on. So, you know what, the community to me, the friends I've made in Beachbody, that to me is the most important thing, that will last far beyond the accolades when your season is done. And, not everybody's meant to be on top forever, so I enjoyed my moment. I really did. I can't say I didn't. I enjoyed my moment. But it's really nice now being kind of a grandma of the, a grandma coach, if you want to say. I am not a grandmother yet. Yeah. But it's nice being a grandma coach, and mentoring people. I enjoy that very, very much.
Yeah, that's really cool. The friendships are big time, and I think that was Carl's message that you shared earlier. Was all you're doing is you're just sharing and being a friend with people. And I love the fact, and I bet you get just as much rush when somebody says, because of you, I push play, I did my workout, I showed up, I got these results, I am financially independent, or I've got time freedom, or whatever it is, because of you. And that's so awesome. And the friendship, yeah, now I'm getting chills. So here we are at the 10-year mark, 10-year anniversary. Couldn't even picture ourselves there. So here we are in 2027. What is life looking for you in 2027 now?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay.
Isn't that something?
Okay. In 2027, I will be 68 years old.
Okay.
So I don't know. Unless they come up with a P90X for seniors, I don't know. I really don't know. I do think that I will be healthy still, because I've learned good habits, and none of us are meant to be doing workouts like P90X for our entire life. But And I modify everything now, I still do. And to me, because I compare myself to how I was 10 years ago, sometimes to me, I feel like I'm an old lady when I'm doing these workouts, but when I do it with my friends, then I realize I'm not,
Yeah.
that I'm still pretty fit for my age. So I want to be in that same position 10 years from now where people are saying, whoa, you look like you're in your 40s, or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, any tips for anybody that you feel to get to that point? Because I know for a lot of the people that we coach, and I just think I go back to my 39-year-old self, and this year I turned 40. People, I'm lying. I'm into my 50s too. But what are we get those people that just feel like life has just gotten away from them, and even getting back on track seems like a mountain. But what are things as we're getting into our 50s and 60s and whatever, what are things that you've learned of those habits that we should do?
Okay, first, number one is you have to accept where you are. Accept, and love yourself for where you are right now. Not when I do this, when I lose weight, when I, do this, then I'll do that. You've got to enjoy life right now, where you are, who you are, because changing the body is not going to change who you are inside, really. So you got to start from there. So if you're at a place where this is where I am, this is where my outside body is, but I'm going to do this out of love, not out of punishment, because there's a lot of people who say, oh, now I have to exercise, now I have to diet, and it's a punishment. And that plays all kinds of crazy things in your mind and even in your metabolism. So that's one of the things I've learned, that you got to go in and look at this as a pleasurable thing. So first of all, you got to find the workout that you're going to look forward to doing, even if it's just walking around the block, with your dog or something, but any movement counts. Any movement counts. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be doing insanity or anything like that. So, and don't make changes all at once. When you're our age, you've got a lot of habits. That's a lot of years of habits. You're not going to change everything all at once. Take your time. Even if you changed only or worked on one little tiny habit, like maybe drinking more water, work on that for one entire month before you move on to the next habit. If you did one habit a month, that's 12 habits a year. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. But if everybody tries to change 12 habits all at one time, then you end up changing nothing. So, start with very small habits and just chart it out. And the third thing I would say is have an accountability buddy, whether it's just a buddy or an actual coach. You got to have somebody to give you some outside feedback, because how you see yourself, it's really easy for a lot of people to, especially our age, for them to start down something and then they mess up in their mind. They mess up and then they say, it's not worth it. I've been this way for 50 years or whatever. It's whatever. My health is still decent, not realizing that 10 years from now, it's all going to show up. But if you have somebody from the outside, to help lift you up during those periods where you're ready to give up, that might just be enough for you to get back on track.
That's a good point. Really good point. You just brought up some things, because I think of my dad. He didn't start his journey until he was like 66, 67 years old. As a matter of fact, it might have been like around 67 years old that he officially started his journey. But it was just little habits at a time. And now one of his habits is, my big habit is putting down my fork. After I take a bite, putting down my fork and setting it, and he says this and tells me after I'm like shoveling it in. I've always been kind of a poor eater that way. But I look at the guy, and people, when he became a coach, and yes, he became a coach, totally blew me away when he wanted to, because people would look at him and go, you haven't done fitness like forever. but he did. And now they're looking at him. He'll be 75 this year. So what is that? 8 years now. And he's down 70 pounds, looking great. Little bits at a time, little habits and behaviors changed over time.
Yeah.
But he's done it on a consistent basis. And I think when Fran tells you about maybe water is one of your things, once you get that into a habit, you don't stop that and say, well, that was my month. You keep that as your new habit and keep going. That's the way I integrated vegetables in my life. I used to hate those things. I wish Shakeology would have existed when I was a kid. But anyway, Fran, those are great, great tips. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So awesome. Well, you know what? I'm going to close out this podcast. We could probably talk for another hour, but you guys, Fran gave you so many awesome tips, and I so appreciate you, Fran, for coming on here today, taking time out in your beautiful house there in Hawaii. And what
for having me on, Perry. It's you've been one of my best buddies all these years, and I'm glad that we're still here together.
You absolutely rock, my friend.
Oh my gosh, what a great interview. Fran, you absolutely rock. I'm so glad you guys were able to get on this episode today. Go over to franpatoskie.com. That's franpatoskie.com. And you can get all the information of things that she shared today and learn more about Fran. And it totally, totally rocks. I appreciate you for subscribing. If you get over to the iTunes store, give an honest rating and review, you would absolutely rock. So appreciate you. If you have any comments, leave them below or send me an email or meet me over on Facebook. We can chat later. And Fran and I have a special message for you.
Remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. We got it down.